Hey guys, have you ever heard of landing pages that actually improve their own conversion rates? They increase your ROI. Whether you're spending money on advertising to get people to the pages or whether the pages are showing up organically, they force themselves to rank higher. They literally improve their own statistics so that Google loves them more. Hey, have you heard of that? Because I haven't. So we started building it and it's coming along beautifully. The functions are based on two things that are extremely important. What does Google want to see? And for ads, it's the same kind of thing. The performance means that when people interact with a page, that they have a great experience from the page and they choose to take matters forward, right? They're actually interested in doing something with you. So for organic ranking, it's what? It's time spent on page, literally how many seconds or minutes does somebody spend on your page and on your website as a whole if they're clicking through different pages. Matters, right? There is such a thing as a whole site time and a per page time. Having said that, what's the other part? The other part is actions taken, engagement. Do people click things on your pages, right? Okay, so now I've explained that part, and that is what the page's jobs are, to improve those two things. The time somebody spends on the page and what they click on, okay? And that, we assume, if the page is set up to sell you properly, then that will turn into more sales for you, both organically and through advertising. So let me start with this concept. I'm going to move in this way, and I just want to build on this. It won't take long. So if I'm scrolling down the page, we're assuming somebody just landed here. They read something somewhere and they just landed here, and they're going to start to look down, right? And they're seeing what the messages are. Maybe they'll click a link, right? That's engagement, clicking a link. So if they're here and they click something, that's engagement. If they click something, that's engagement. It means already whoever sees this in their screen, and they hit something, they're in the right place because they're engaging with the page. Google sees all that happen through Google Chrome. So when you're on Google Chrome, like everybody else, a lot of people, then Google actually studies that kind of reaction. Most browsers do, and that's because not because they're trying to be intrusive. That can be anonymous data. They can dump it after you're done visiting the page. But what they're really doing is storing how well the page is competing with other pages for the same keyword, right? The purpose of it is to give you better results in the search engines. Okay, so anyway, maybe you click on something up here and you do not scroll down. Well, you're engaging. But say you click nothing, okay? Then we need to see you do something like this if you're not going to click anything. This is important right here. It means you're opening the door to new bits of information, and you may or may not click something, but let's say you're not clicking anything yet because you're still not convinced. In other words, you're getting interested. Well, you could still scroll down, right? And as you do, you're picking up little bits of information, a little more, a little more, a little more. You're developing a sense of what it is you're stepping into and a sense of who else has done it or, anything else, what's possible, latest creative work, etc., right? You're coming down through all this and going, oh, I'm starting to really, really get it and I'm really getting interested. And the further you go, the more it means, right? But it also means, did you engage with anything on the way? Like, did you actually hit a button? No one's tracking mouse overs because your mouse could just be hanging there while you're reading. But did you click something? And if you didn't, you're still searching. But the idea is the page is supposed to say, ready for this? Oh, is that boring for you? Maybe you're past that. What about this? What about that? What about that? What about that? Right? But because it's telling that story that you like and it's saying it in the right kind of way, then you should be getting more and more interested and excited. Okay? So here's what I want to say. Theoretically, when you land on a web page, you're mildly curious about the thing. Unless this hit you because you're a beginner and you go, wow, I need more of that, or I want this, right? Or you're an expert. Again, you might be going exactly where you know you need to go or to the thing that caught your attention the most. Okay, having said that, mild curiosity, some interest, increasing interest, heightened interest, right? A lot of interest, somewhere in here, you should be developing it. And then what? After you get through a lot of interest. You get to a point of I'm convinced, right? And you're like, wow, that's really, really awesome. And somewhere around when you're convinced, maybe you're making a purchase decision, maybe you're requesting a proposal for a bigger kind of a job, who knows? But then after that, right? Like by the time you get here, either you're trying to collect these because you're really sold, you're quite convinced, you're interested, you just want to lock it in, or you want to move on to the next thing, or you just want to be sure that you're right, from other points of view, whatever it is the videos are doing. Now what? Now you get to a point where you're excited and you're like, man, I am so down and I want to become a part of this. And so you want to become a part either by buying or subscribing to a newsletter or whatever it is, right? Now, having said all that, or even just scheduling a demo, right? Having said all that, here comes the big fat question. What if people are scrolling past the points of engagement that you have for them? Like, what if you need them to watch the video, but they're not watching the video? Here's your first question. Did they even go down low enough to see the videos? Maybe they didn't. Maybe on average, they're stopping right here and leaving the page. In other words, we lost them here somehow, right? Unless they click to a different page. So then that page has the same questions being asked of it. Are people watching your videos? Are they filling out your forms? Are they clicking whatever you give them to click, right? Each page has got something to do. So here's the thing. What if they are scrolling down far enough? And as you can imagine, I put this stuff down low on purpose. I want to make the point. But they see it and they just don't ever click and watch. Then is it the wrong videos or are they just in the wrong place, right? The videos are not doing their job. We want people to see it. What about this? Is this in the right place? What about the newsletter? Is that in the right place? What if no one ever scrolls that low? No one will ever sign up. If you're wondering why no one's joining the newsletter, it's just too low, right? Okay, I have seen large companies ask their coaches what it is they can do to improve ROI, and the coaches will say split test. They'll look at their page, which will have a lot of stuff on it like that, and they'll say, maybe take a version and move some of this up, take another version, move some of that down. Take another version and put something else in here. They'll say, take another version and chop some of the stuff out, right? And split testing's hard and expensive. It requires a whole monitoring team, right? That's the standard out there for millionaires, right? Who have big budgets. We thought we could do better than that. So we started by first saying we want to separate bots from humans. So we did 3 major things to separate bots. You know why? Because if we're tracking bots and we're getting all those hits to the page and they don't do anything as far as we can tell, then what are we supposed to think? Well, we're thinking that they're not interested. And so if 1,000 people come to the page and 5 people watch the video, we think that's horrible. But what if that's because 900 of those visitors are bots or scrapers? There are really lots and lots out there. Probably 90% of traffic that is uncontrolled. Like literally, if a website's not doing anything about it, no Google reCAPTCHA, for the spam bots through the forums. If no one's doing anything to try to block the spam and the bots and the scrapers, then it's like 90% of the traffic you get. It's coming in from China. It's coming in from Russia. You see a lot of stuff even in the US that just acts weird. And sometimes it's Amazon. Sometimes it's SEMrush. These bots are hitting your site left and right, gathering data left and right, but they're never planning on buying anything. So we took up a list of 1,600 bad bots. And we put them into our servers so that it blocks the bots on all of the websites we put on any of our servers. So we don't have that problem. No bad bots. Not the ones that mention who they are. So that brings us to the next one. What about strange hits from scraping companies like Amazon and its correlatives overseas, things like Baidu in China? Okay, so we decided we're going to block website hits from those countries. Any country that's outside the sphere of where we get usual subscribers and buyers and visitors and stuff, humans that we know. And so we're blocking China, we're blocking Russia, we're blocking most of the countries out there. Very, very few are we letting through, and they're the ones that are worth letting through. So that's massive. We watch huge drops in our traffic every time we do this kind of orientation. And so what else? We also did put Google reCAPTCHA on some of our forms that were getting spammed. So anyone that needs that, we've got that in place. Everyone's got that on their websites. Then what's the third thing we did? We said not all the bots are labeling themselves bots, and not all the bots are overseas either. So we're going to look at the HTTP refer agent. What's that? That is what a website, that is what a visitor tells the website it is. Hi, I'm here. I'm on Google Chrome. Oh, okay. Welcome, Google Chrome visitor. And I see you're on a desktop, and I see there's your viewport size, and we're going to serve the content to fit best into your screen. Why, thank you very much. I see you're in this time zone, so I'll make any adjustments for that if you sign up to anything and schedule yourself for a webinar so that it'll be in your time zone. Why, thank you very much. You know, all that kind of thing, right? So when a visitor comes to a website and fetches a web page, it tells the web page what it is so that the web page can deliver the right kind of content to it. I'm a desktop, I'm a mobile phone, I'm on a Mac, I'm on a PC, but it does it with browsers, you know? So what are human-based browsers? Well, Chrome, Firefox, Microsoft Edge, you know, Safari, there's Opera, there are a few out there. It's like, okay, these are used commonly by humans, right? In our countries, the ones that we allow. And so we're going to assume that if somebody comes through one of these browsers, more probable that they're human. But if the refer agent says it's something old like IE7, ooh, who uses that anymore? Not even the oldest of old guys, because those computers would have broken down by now. They would be incapable of navigating the internet. That would be the weirdest thing. So anytime we see a hit from browsers that don't make sense, like Netscape, really? So if we're seeing hits from old IE versions, we're seeing hits from Netscape, we're seeing hits from things that don't sound like today human activity, they're blocked. How's that for neat? So we've done a great job of blocking most of the bot activity, and that leaves us capturing data for the last few bots and scrapers along with humans. So we are much, much closer to getting the right answers. Now let me tell you the next part. What do bots do when they land on a web page and scrapers? They look at the web page kind of like this, view page source, okay? And I can wrap the long lines. This is how bots see a web page. This is how scrapers see a web page. And if they want to visit a link, they literally copy the link from HTTPS through the double quotes and then paste it into a new address bar, or ping it or fetch it, whatever, in a terminal window and bring the page in so they can read it like this, right? It's a real fast way to just scour the internet without having to load every page on a monitor screen that would take too long, okay? Now, having said that, what do bots and scrapers not do? They don't do this right here, what I'm about to do. That. You see that? That's called a scroll down. Scrolling down means I'm human, okay? Bots don't do this. You can build a macro to do this, but a macro is easy to isolate because there would only be like one or two ever coming to your website doing this kind of thing. You never see mass macro activity from tons of different people coming to your website because, first of all, there's no point. Anytime you move anything, the macros would try to scroll and find the button and it would be gone or broken or moved to a new XY radius. So nobody uses macros hardly. Just the scraping goes 1,000 times faster behind the scenes to get data, right, that they would sell for their clientele. Anyway, scroll downs. That's one thing that means I'm a human. Anyone who's scrolling down, we call them a human, okay? Now, the other thing, what if they scroll down and click nothing, do nothing, and leave the web page? Well, that's zero engagement score. They're not engaged, right? If they actually go from one end to the other and they click nothing, we assume they're not going to buy anything, so we track nothing from them because they're 100% scroll maybe, but 0% engagement. 0% engagement means they're not interested, okay? That brings me to the other thing that we track that's really important, clicks. Now, clicks are greatly important for the obvious reason that clicks mean a person did it with a mouse or a person had to do it with a finger. You cannot be a bot or a scraper and physically hit a button. Scrapers and bots do not click. Okay? Clicking requires human activity with a mouse or a finger. That's what we track. We don't track the visit to the other page. We track the fact that they clicked something to get to the other page. Okay? Now, if they land on the other page because they already had it in their bookmarks and they're just going to start moving down the page, that's fine. I mean, we are tracking their behavior on the other page. And if they click anything, great. If they click nothing, then we figure they're not engaged, right? Or at least not ready. Sometimes a guy might come back and scroll to a certain spot, just stare and think, I can't wait to have you, but I need to wait till next payday to have you, and so sometimes people do this kind of revisiting. They're just making sure it's still there, making sure there's still some open seats available, whatever it is. But what we find important for sure is scroll downs and clicks. Now, you might think, why bother with scroll down if clicks the real point, right? Clicking the video, filling in the email form and clicking submit, right? Any of that stuff matters. So you think, what is the point of scrolling down? I tell you, this is how web pages are going to improve their ROI all the time. Here's the idea. Say we build this web page and we really think about it, okay? It's using AI content that's babysat, so the output content reads better than a human can write it, because the AI writer has studied billions of web pages to figure out the best, most convertible ways to write things. So you get perfect, convincing, engaging, polite, whatever it is, content. If you want to write about home improvement in the voice of Bob Villa, you can. If you want to write coaching information in the voice of Napoleon Hill, you can, right? So having said that, what do I want to say? So this is made well. If it hits the person in the right mood at the right time with the right amount of money on their hands or the right, mindset to get involved in whatever it is, this is fine. We're assuming that, right? Now we're saying we did that with our content. This is probably going to be a lot more content. Maybe 3,000 words broken into several sections, whatever it is, that we're going to split across sections, okay? So we're going to have a point here. It's a big point, like our opening. And then we're going to have sections that are pretty much interchangeable. All the different sections that we wrote about that matter the most, right? That we want people to engage themselves in. In other words, these sections, each of them is prepared to be hot and do the job right. Okay. So as we go down through these sections, okay, we're expecting people to react, to each section that catches their interest, right? Whatever catches their interest first, second, or third. Well, here's the reason for the scroll downs. What if we find they're scrolling like halfway down the page and then leaving? And they're scrolling before they ever get to the stuff we really care about. We care that they take one of a few actions, and the rest of this is here just to back it up, really. But what do we really care about? We want them to either make a purchase, or if what the buyer has in mind is bigger than this, then they might request a proposal. Either of these is awesome. Okay. We do expect them to watch at least one of the videos, right? They got to watch a video 1, 2, or 3, something like that. If they're not ready to make a purchase, we think they watched a video, but maybe they're not ready to make a purchase. So we expect that they'll sign up to the newsletter. But what if our stuff isn't in the right place? And yes, I exaggerated where those positions are right now in order to, make this easier to see, right? So here we go. First thing is this. If I were to go into the dashboard for this and I were going to go into that appropriate page, it's the index page here, okay? And I'm going to go into it. And on this page, those are the sections we were staring at. And this is the order that they are in. And it ends with the newsletter, right? So why is the newsletter even at the bottom? Because you can't put it too high or people skip right past it. If we have this at the top, no one's ready for it yet. They're going to skip past it. And then if we put it multiple times, they're going to get annoyed by it and keep skipping past it rather reflexively, and they're going to forget to sign up. Even when they get to the bottom and they're excited and we want them to sign up, they forgot that that's something they should do because they taught themselves to ignore it. Okay? Of all the things, right? So we don't want that to happen, do we? But we don't want them to leave the page without seeing it. So what if we can move it up? Right? What if we, if they don't see the videos, what if we move them up? Okay? What, maybe even the videos below the newsletters. Maybe the videos above the newsletters, right? The pricing, oh my gosh, man. What if it needs to be right below the testimonials? Okay? I'm going to update the changes to the page. I'm going to go back. I'm going to make the point about how much it changed the page just to make those changes, right? So I had this storyline. Let me refresh though, and we'll start at the top. Take a look again. Now I've got this storyline, right? Wow. Isn't that suddenly more sensible? And yeah, where have I got my pricing plan might go higher, huh? But do you see what I mean? Now, that is fun because that is so obvious, right? Oh, that was, yeah, that's what it was like right below the testimonial. So the testimonials and the pricing plans, right? Now, that's how I perceive the value of the page. That's how it's hitting me. I wrote it because I'm on the inside writing what I think is the right journey for someone to take. But if they're getting lost and they're leaving early, man, I need to know that, don't I? So the cool thing is user tracking. Okay, I'm going to tie that to this. User tracking says what? Some guy landed in the header and clicked the link to the branding page. That is an action. Okay, we've got the date. We know what page they were on when they did it. And we know what section name they were in. And yes, we could put another column for the section number, because as you see now, we can move sections from one number to another and reorder, right? So we can track where they are, where they were, what the percentage conversion rate was. So out of every like 25 or 50 or 75 or 100 people, whatever it is that we set a timer at to check every 25 people or so, then it can tell us what the percentages are. And we can look at those percentages and make informed decisions about what to do with the pages, except everyone does that. We're going to take this a step further. We're going to take it a few steps further. Watch this. User scrolls. Because we see that they only scrolled like 38.16% of the way down the page, which, believe it or not, is a correlation that we use against the number of pixels per section to tell what section they're in, okay? Then what that means is what? We know that they missed the remaining 61.84% of the page. They missed it all. They missed the video. They missed the sign-up box. They missed everything, okay? Well, again, if we check every 25, 50, 75, 100 people, whatever it is we want to check for, then it does the check and says the average person scrolled 38% of the way down. We need to get our stuff up. Why don't we just put the stuff up early? Because people are going to skip it if it's too soon. Again, what is that storyline? When is it optimized? When is it the right amount of reading, the right amount of videos, the right amount of suggestion for pricing, the testimonials? What is the right order? It's not even certain on a page-by-page basis. Do you realize that of all the things that we're saying could be ordered here, okay, and I'm sure you realize it, it'll make sense immediately. All these things that we could flip around and save the order of, right, from one page to the next, okay, from here to here to here to here to here, it does not mean that that order is the best for all those pages. They are each telling their very own story, and they actually have their own sections. And because of that, Each page needs to be measured independently and track its own conversions independently. We just have to tell what we're looking for. We're aiming for at least 5% on the video views. We're aiming for at least a 2%, 3% sign up on the email forms. We're aiming for at least, we're not aiming for any requests to proposals because we never know when those people are going to come in who have that kind of money. But we are aiming for at least a certain number of sales, right? Stuff like that, that come off that page. So we actually are going to measure the pages independently, which sounds interesting by itself, right? Except there's more to it. So we're measuring the scroll downs and we're measuring the clicks and the interactions with things. So what if the page, every time it checks through enough people, like 25, who do something, scroll down or click, they got to be engaged. We're not trying to throw the stats off by including bots, scrapers, or humans who literally just land on the page and go, oh, I'm in the wrong place. I didn't mean to come here, and off they go, right? Often it's children looking for the next link to click on that's to a cartoon, and it's not, it's to you. And so often people land on your page thinking one thing and it's the wrong thing. They were going to order pizza. And so anyway, each page does its own checks. And guess what? Based on the results, it makes its own measurements of what to move where. It says if the email thing is not happening often enough, move it up. Don't move it too high. You know, how many people landed here? 100. Out of them, how many people came here? 87, 78, 62, 51, 40, 30, 25, and so on and so forth, right? Well, we need the email newsletter to land where it makes sense to land, but low enough to still capture the majority of people who would otherwise skip it. Okay, so our web page is going to decide that. It's going to bring it up below the section where we have our target percentage of majority people landing. It's going to bring it right above that, so that as they're reaching the end of their typical journey, the average person, they see it, and you know what it should do? Here's another point I'm going to make. It'll start to blow your mind in a minute if you don't know. Let me get there. Oh, I went too far. Let me go up. Oh, I went too far. Instead of just saying subscribe to the newsletter now, what do you think it should say? Get the coupon code when subscribing, right? Bonus when subscribing, get something free, get your first videos, whatever it is. Could there be more than one way to say that? Yeah. So separate from placement of where things go, maybe we've got some options for what it should say here, or here, or both. Just, whatever that stack is together. Sign up and get the bonus. The bonus is blah, blah, blah. You're going to want it kind of thing, right? Sign up and get the first video, videos, da, 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 and so those will go together because they make sense. But we're trying to lock people in on that. We're tracking the clicks. Here's another one. Our videos. I mean, this could say something else, right? Oh, not just what it says in words, but let me try something else on you. See the videos we have. What if one of these videos or all of them are not getting the percentages that we expect them to get because we put in expectations? We can have on a list behind the scenes in the admin panel 2 or 3 other videos that should be swapped with that one, 2 or 3 that should be swapped with that, 2 or 3 that should be swapped with that. So as the page goes testing and it hits its first 25 or 50 or 75 or 100 people, it will swap the video out if it did not reach the goal. If it reaches the goal we set, it will not touch anything. It doesn't want to try the next video. Maybe that'll dip the results, right? If we want to test at a higher range, we can go in and bump the percentage up to force it to cycle and see what's going on. Right? And again, as soon as it hits that, it's going to stop there. It's not going to mess with anything else unless we go in and raise the percentage higher. And then we get rid of the videos that didn't work and maybe add a couple more. See that? That's just us being smart. Okay? We could put in a bunch of videos that we honestly believe are all good, and we can have the system just dismiss videos once it gets the highest percentage figured out, anytime it rules out a video. Now you might think, wait a minute, what if it rules out videos too soon? Then don't check every 25 people. Check every 50 or 75 or 100, okay? But do you get the point? You want to check through enough people to be sure of your answers, for the website to be sure of its answers, but then it can make all the adjustments for you. If people come down and they kind of stop here and they just don't really go anywhere past that, they just kind of like stop. We figured this was interesting to them, this turned them off, and they just didn't continue. So what can we do? We can swap things out. We can say, well, if they stopped here, move it down, put this up higher. Let's see what happens then. And then if they go scrolling down and then kind of stop around here, it's like, well, put the newsletter right here, but move that down one, move this up. Oh, okay, maybe that's the right thing. First the pricing and then the testimonials, right? Maybe that's the way we should do it. And so on and so forth. If any sections just turn people off all the time, it's just like no matter where we put it, it's not doing any kind of a job, then what? We disable it. So we try it out, and if by the time it hits the bottom of the page, it's people are still not doing anything with it, they're not engaging with this section in any way, we're going to dismiss it. It's in the way, right? We'll just disable it. And again, you see how to do that in the back. You just flip it off, right? Literally, and say, so the website will do that. The website will make that decision. Now, isn't that neat? And by the way, we know to be careful with the stats. What if people go to scroll down and then they click something in here and then they scroll down and they jump to another page? Well, they only scrolled that far down, but they jumped to another page, didn't they? They engaged. Then we cut that off. That should not affect the rest of the stuff. If they're clicking on just anything, then now they're on another page, so we have to track what they're doing on that other page separately, right? But we can't rule it against the first page. So we consider that a positive engagement. The guy moved to one of these other pages that, guess what? They do the exact same thing now. They have their own sections that also measure the convertibility of the actions being taken on that page. Now, what's even cooler about this? Well, you know how we do it? We make lots of websites, don't we? So all of those websites, like once a week or once a month, whatever we think, are going to meet and they're going to compare results. All the so-called branding pages will meet with the other branding pages that have the same template, because that's apples to apples. All the blogs pages will meet with all the other blogs pages that are on the same template, apples to apples. And these pages will decide, they will like communicate to each other what their best convertibilities are. And they will make the adjustments that lead to that because they're showing it. And with those adjustments, they'll run back off and change those items on their own websites. You know what that means? The websites all learn from each other, kind of like the Borg in Star Trek. They assimilate and then share it across the entire group equally, transfer it back, and so they all get to have the highest convertibility. Then guess what happens? They keep testing. They just keep going through what they're doing, measuring human behavior. But do you get it? They're much further along, and here's a cool thing. What if you had 1,000 pages like that, or 100, I don't care, 50, 100, 1,000 too. The point is this, what if there are a bunch of those pages, and you decide to do a test in the group. And so you go into one of those pages and you do something of your own. You try out a new video or something, and then you leave it and say that reaction is huge and it really, really works. The next time the pages meet and they go back, they'll all be using your step up if it's the best conversion rate that they're seeing across the group. And if it's not, they'll take whatever is the best conversion rate back across the group. How's that for insane? Pages that improve themselves. I had somebody say, what is like a feasible way to get the pages to really improve fastest? I'd say put an ad on it. Run it through Google Ads or YouTube vids or Facebook campaigns, something like that. Once the page is set up and ready, run it through there. That way you can get like 100 visitors right away. You can get 2 or 3 or 4 or 500 right away. You'll go through a few cycles and your page will just start correcting itself right away. And so by the end of the day, it may have the absolute best ROI that it can get based on the factors so far. The beauty of that is you didn't have to split test. We only had to build the right kind of rules in here. You know what else is cool about tracking all this stuff? Let me go over here. I want to make another point. Something that we're adding in. Okay, somebody landed here on the header and they clicked a link, right? We tracked that. And they did not do the scrolling, but I did. And I scrolled so far 91.59%. That's my IP. Scrolling 91.59% on this page, right? And I can look closer. And when I do, I'll see if there's any other data. I should have gone back. If I'm looking closer, I also need to see what's happening on both tabs, right? I didn't click anything. I just looked down. So this other guy, for instance, he clicked on these things, but he had no user scrolls. So let me go back and then let me go to me, okay, and check it out. All right. And I clicked nothing, but I had this scroll on the index page only so far, right? That sounds right, doesn't it? Now, here's the fun part. I mean, this stuff really, really matters, right? Let me do this from another page. I'm going to go on my cell phone. And when I first land on the page, I don't think it's going to track anything because I clicked nothing. And I could be a bot. But the moment I act differently, I just scroll down some. I literally, that's all I did. There it is. See that? Scroll down 3.89%. I just went and it caught it. So far, that's all the data it has on me right now. Right? I didn't click anything. All I did was scroll down 3.89%. You know what I'm going to do first? I'm going to scroll down a little more. Then I'm going to start one of the videos. And then, let me see what else. Oh, it put me back at the top of the page too. Let's see what happened. Make sure I get this right. Oh, I don't know. I better go back and start over or else I'm getting lost. This stuff's all more new than it was. Take a look at this. User actions. There it is. That's the one. And there's the video I clicked on. That's cool. I can mark what these videos are, you know, but I see it. And if I go into me, I see that, and I see I scrolled 9.23% of the way down by now, which is true. Do you see that? So you know what? What if you're using other tracking that captures the IP anyway? For instance, we have Stack Hunter. We can integrate it. It may or may not be valuable, but you know what else we have? Decryption. So with these IPs, we look up who the people are. And very often, we can get email addresses. And so we can add them to newsletters, you know, and pitch to them. So all the guys who were getting lost and left the web page too soon, they didn't see the videos, they didn't sign up for more information, but they did engage. We're going to assume that they engaged, but kind of got lost because it was our website's fault. Okay? Not because they were mad, not because they landed and thought, what the heck is this, and left. Not because they were bots, but we can just choose to add to our newsletter people who've shown whatever we call minimum level or better of engagement. Do you see the value in that? And that is easy. That is so easy. We just assign a score based on 1 or 2 or 3 clickable interactions, based on watching 1 or 2 or 3 videos and so on. And we retarget. by putting them in a newsletter and pitching at them until they choose to either unsubscribe or buy something. Now, when you think that that's how retargeting works, is based on whether they watched a video or scrolled down or clicked to another page, or did any of those things, then we could have a newsletter with more than one campaign. That depends on, did they watch this video? Pitch them that campaign. Did they watch this video? Pitch them that campaign. Did they click to that page? Pitch them from that point forward. Now that sounds like a lot of work, and it's probably more than you need. The campaign itself just needs to, pick up from where they would normally have left off if they landed on your page, looked at a couple things, but didn't follow through. May as well just roll forward with the newsletter from there, right? By the way, does the newsletter have to come from you? Nope. Could be somebody else just coincidentally pitching, hey, if you're in the market for this, you really should look at this company. They do A, B, and C extremely well, and so on. And hey, here's their site. You should go to them. By the way, here's a coupon code. And I'm an affiliate, and I might make money if you buy something from over there. The campaign can say that. And literally by doing that, you're doing it at arm's length. It doesn't even need to be you. It can be as though someone else saying, you're really hot, right? So I want to point out that we are implementing all of this. And also what this does is make these leads that we're going to be aggregating the names, emails, phone numbers, zip, and all that for. Suddenly, these leads are worth a great deal. If this was an accident lawyer website and people are on it and they're browsing any of the information about that, we know that those guys are sellable to accident lawyers for some amount of money, where the accident lawyers can reach out and contact them and know they're talking to people who are showing interest, not just hit their site and left, right? But they can be someone who engaged. Okay? Wow. Well, if somebody came and they landed on the roof replacement page, or the roof restoration page, or the roof repair page, or the roof cleaning page, or the gutter cleaning page, what can we do? We can literally say these leads right now should go here, here, and here, right? So we can have guys who want to grab leads who are showing true engagement and true interest. And we can still credit people if for some reason there's a mismatch after all is said and done. But we're really all over it at this point. Do you see the value of that? That means that everything we do, by the way, we're applying all these updates. Okay, as soon as we're ready here, where do they go? All the templates on Website Installer are going to be upgraded with all those functions so that they run. Okay, so that they're there, they work, okay? And also, where else? The claim this position part of decryptmyleads.com. If you go there and you're like, I want to get a project, at this point, I don't care what industry you want. It doesn't matter. It can be dog daycare. It can be garage door installation. It can be a DUI lawyer. It can be electricians, it could be exterminators, it could be eyelashes selections. Anything and everything that we put out is going to have the right kind of content, totally quality websites. It's going to pitch in all the different major areas anyway, because we already have this stuff out there. We're just upgrading in real time. So whatever you're buying into will upgrade that. Okay, for your industry times your metro area of whatever the size is that you pick, lower or higher. And when you get into something like this, that we put it out, I don't know if you've seen the videos for like Amazon stores. People pitch eyelashes all the time. Guys who sell eyelashes in boxes that get delivered to your door and you can use them, they make a killing from those eyelashes. Those things don't cost that much to make, but boy, do they sell for a chunk. And so what do we want to do? We want to sell the leads to the eyelash people, or put those leads in the eyelash people's newsletter, but then they'll be paying for those leads to be added because they can just accumulate so many more long-term sales from acquiring those new guys. Some of them will quit, but the ones who convert will keep buying. Okay, so you get the one-time cost, but the multiple gain. One-time cost, multiple gain. Okay, recurring gain. So the amount of money you can make off of this is huge. And one thing I want to do with the way we're setting these things up is actually have the payments off the projects coming straight to you for these standardized projects that we set up. Maybe in all the industries. There are a few industries we can't do that in. We can't do that with real estate, and we can't do that right now with RoofMax because of the way we're running those. But everything else that's untouched, everything else is untouched in terms of rules like that. So I'm going to set that up so that they start paying you. Now, there are two ways to go about it. You take 100% of the payment or you take 50% of the payment. We'll talk about it after you get the position, get the thing up and running. The reason you would take 50% of the payment is so that we monitor your project and we keep improving upon it because we also want to make more money. The reason you would keep 100% of it, you're saying, let's get the initial stack in there to tell the websites what they're supposed to aim for, and then I just want all the money from there. Okay, so that's really kind of up to you. What I would definitely recommend is that you're splitting the lead profits with us, because then we have a vested interest in taking your project and continuing to push it up. Aside from that, what else are we doing? A lot of backdrop projects in the background so that we can make sure to cover all the upfront projects in the front end. Okay, and there's more. It's hard to explain. We have a way of watching how a mouse moves on a page and the scroll bar and being able to tell how people are interacting on the page. So from time to time, we can resort to that flow on our end. It's a way of tracking it efficiently so that we can see if anyone's getting stuck somewhere. But like I say, that what we're doing here is enough. If we put in our variations and then we put in our requirements and our priorities and what those percentage conversions should be, and then we just optimize that, we could even teach the websites to adjust their numbers for testing and bring them back if they fail. So I think within the next couple of weeks, month, these things are just going to be unbelievable. So what you guys should do is get in on the positions you want, especially if you want positions, because that's 100% our work, not yours. You do nothing. You just pay so that we have the cash flow to run those projects with, and you can get more than one position. You can do them for different industries. The lower the offset number, the less expensive it is. But that's because these things are based, the higher the offset, the more profitability there is. It's literally going to be a lot more profitable to do a pitch for bankruptcy lawyers than for eyelashes, okay? Even in the same population area, okay? The higher the population, the more the profitability, so the more upfront we need to push that big to compete with all those guys. But we're able to do this now in such a way we can create pages that can rank on ads. We can create pages that rank organically. We can get together with some of the guys in the area who will cover the ads to get the leads to them for the lower cost, or pay for the ads to get them at the regular cost. But then you wind up earning a lot. So the way these are priced, you should be able to make to expect at least 6 times over in a year, just over the course of the year. It'll take us about 2 months to get it to a point where it's as profitable as we expect it to be. I'm just saying that. We're probably going to have a kickoff period that's faster. It would be like optimizing the pages with ads, but then we still have to wait for Google to go through the organic growth, routine that they do, so that now we're earning from it organically. But it's amazing to think web pages that make themselves more profitable on ads and make themselves rank higher organically. And again, they rank higher organically because the more we get the section order right, the longer somebody stays on the page and interacts with it. And the more interactions they do, the long, also, either one of those increase the rank. Time on page, Google raises the rank. Interactions, Google raises the rank. Time on page with interactions, Google raises the rank. Okay? And the fact that we're able to watch is important, but the fact that our websites can watch and self-update and communicate in the background with others to even update further with no need for humans to watch means that we can beat the rest of the industry at this game. Okay? And especially in most of these industries where these guys aren't web savvy and no one's monitoring their results at all. So if you're getting into anything here, the idea that you can make it profitable is nuts. So it's just, how far do you want to go? How far can you go? Aim for the highest population you can afford in an industry you know enough about to say, heck yeah, there's money in that. And guess what? This thing's gonna make money. It's crazy how powerful this project is now. We'll make sure of it. And if you're splitting the profits with us, we're gung-ho behind it, pushing it further to get it there. And the fact that we can tell clients who want to buy leads, but they're afraid and suspicious about where the leads come from. It's like we are tracking the actual lead actions. We know that these leads are doing things. So this guy right here who clicked this thing right here, he's worth talking to, especially if he did a few other things, whatever they are, right? If he went to a bunch of pages and clicked on a bunch of things off a bunch of the pages, right? He's hot. Do you want to pay to have us add him to your newsletter? Or do you want to pay to give him a phone call? Or do you want to pay to send him a postal mail about why he wants a new roof from you now that you know he's looking for a new roof in general? What do you want to do? That is awesome. So guys, get involved. Really lock in positions. Let us push them up because this stuff is happening. It's already far enough where we know the engagement and we can match it to the people. So within like another week, all the stuff will flood into the admin panel and be exportable. Literally, we can give the exported list to the client, or the exported list can dump into the database where the client pays for the number of records he gets out of the database, or it can export straight to a guy's newsletter because we integrated all the newsletters. And so we're integrating all these different things that guys like to work with. Okay, we can integrate more. And so we can make sure that the guys get the leads they want where they want them, when they want them. So yeah, selling active true leads that are not bots and not scrapers, and they come to the websites and they do things and our pages are optimizing for them to act even more seriously. That is huge. A bunch of people are going to call them outright. A bunch of people are going to fill out the form on the webpage outright. And everyone who doesn't can still be dumped into a newsletter, either for that guy, or if he doesn't want to deal with them, for the next guy over who says, I'm hungry, I'm starving, I want them, because I'm willing to call, I'm willing to email, I just need people to call and email. Okay? Then there are guys who are like, my stuff is an impulse sale. I'll take everyone into my newsletter possible. It doesn't even matter if they bought from another guy, because they're still going to want to buy from me. Eyelashes are just like that, right? Whoever has whatever style of eyelash, no one's really loyal to one eyelash provider. They'll buy eyelashes from anywhere. That's the same for most things. Furniture, anything you can name, right? Oriental rugs. So there you have it. Yeah, just be wise enough or wide enough to know that if we're writing and we're ranking because we're auditing it, and people are landing and they're interacting, and we capture who that data is and we can make it available to people in one of a number of ways or a number of ways, then there is a lot of money in these projects. So even though they're passive, for you and me, once they're set up, they're passive, and that's it. Then it's very minimal work to keep them up. We can create rules all day long. We can have a rule that says, say time passes and a page that was getting a lot of traffic starts to drift off. Well, all the conversions are the same, it's just fewer people, right? Okay, then our rule is going to say rewrite one sentence on the page, trade it for another version of that sentence that we have in our backup. That way, when it trades it, Google's going to come back and see a human made a change to the page. See, this is after the page already corrected itself for the best convertibility. We don't want to keep correcting it. If it starts to lose rank, it's because it's getting stale. But if we have a version of backups for some nondescript paragraph in here, and we just change that one little out of the way paragraph, then nobody really notices the difference, because all the paragraphs are going to say something equally totally awesome, but it'll be enough for the next time the Google bots come through to say, oh, there's still somebody there. They're actually still working with this page. It's still live. Okay, we can trust that they're going to answer the phone then when people call them, and that they're going to be on the other side of the form, and the page rises back up and rank. So all this stuff can be automated now. I mean, this is not hard. We're on the downhill slope of the programming to finish it. The hardest part was scrolling. The rest of it's easy. Okay, talk to you later about that, but I think you get the idea. And yeah, what I really want is for you guys to come to decrypt my leads and claim these positions, because we're going gung-ho in that direction, because that is where we get to really kick it. And if we're splitting the lead income with you, you're getting your part because you're acting like the angel investor that funded us to do our project, but you get half the receipts, because half the house, they say, because you funded the money for that area for us to kick it, right? And we'll make sure to get you covered. And in the meantime, if you want to get other claims along the way, or like out of your profits, you can do that. You can keep rolling in. That's better for both of us. We want to earn, you want to earn. That's how that works together. Okay, I'll talk to you later. I think this is really an awesome video, and it's long, but I think you get the point. It's powerful. All right, take care.